Welcome to News with a View, a Fat Cat production, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is August 12th, and this is episode 114. I'm trying to get shows out every day. This is going to be probably under 40 minutes. I'm going to push this one out because it is Tuesday. And we all know by now, if you watch the show, Tuesday is poker night. So I play with the boys. That didn't sound right, but whatever. All right. If you're joining for the first time, or you just stumbled across this on live YouTube, this is a conservative-leaning podcast. We take things into account. We look at the merits of an argument. We look at the merits of a story. We look at the facts, and then we see how those ones are adjusted and tweaked towards a particular audience. But I will always try to curve it back to look at a conservative view, not a MAGA. I mean, I'm all for Trump and everything like that, but I'm a constitutionalist, I'm a federalist. And, if it's allowed, it's allowed. End of story. I don't care if Biden was doing it, Obama, any Bush, doesn't matter. If it's allowed under the Constitution, and the president's executive powers, have at it. That's the way it goes. It's what happens when you win and lose a race, just so you know that. So I try to be as fair. Bob in New York doesn't think I'm that fair. Doesn't think my opinion is correct. Boo. Bob in New York. No, but he brings up good points. All right, today's topics. Of course, we're going to talk about the Texas legislators. That's a big deal. Second thing we're going to do is media meltdown over D.C. takeover. That's Trump's calling out the National Guard and his threat to do that in other cities. Whether or not he can do that, we'll talk about that. AOC told by the Ethics Committee, pay up. And my favorite Clown of the Year award winner. He gets it. He's just going to get it. He's Clown for the Year, Adam Schiff. Facing investigations over alleged leaks that he orchestrated in 2016. And probably past that too, but so we'll go and face that. We're going to do that real quick. So we're going to do a quick show today. Texas Attorney General seeks jail for Beto O'Rourke over funding Democrats' walkout. Now, that's a bit harsh. And it would be a stretch to think that they would arrest him and put him in jail. But be mindful of the fact that a judge ordered Beto O'Rourke to cease his funding for the Democratic walkout and the cowardly actions of the Democrats who fled and abandoned their jobs, and told Beto O'Rourke, you cannot collect money to pay their fines. You cannot collect money to pay their expenses. Now, that in itself, I thought the judge overstated. Well, I don't think the judge could do that. So judges are funny. They can do a lot of things. But I didn't think that a judge could order him to do that. If people are making a donation and it's a valid organization under whatever rules and regulations, you know. But whether or not what the legislators are doing are deemed legal. So in this essence would be that my thinking of the judge and everything else is that, you can't fund a possible illegal activity. Let the dust settle and we'll see what shakes down, but you can't fund a possible illegal activity. And that's what the Democrats, the legislators in Texas have done. They have abandoned their posts, they abandoned their jobs, they abandoned their constituents, and fled to a different state so they couldn't be forced into to have a quorum in their legislators, and they can't hold votes because they don't have a quorum. So what the Democrats decided to do was, if we all run away and hide and seek sanctuary, like in Illinois and some other states, there's nothing they can do. Well, there's plenty that can be done. And I think that these, again, this is not helping the Democratic cause. Not helping at all. So, Tarrant County District Judge Megan Fahey granted a request from Attorney General Paxton of Texas. Last week, halting O'Rourke and his group aligned with him, Powered by the People, from fundraising. The order bars the group from using funds to pay the cost of Texas lawmakers during their special sessions, or paying the $500 daily fine for each time they are absent. So, there's a fine now. In his Tuesday filing, Paxton said O'Rourke had continued fundraising after the ruling, and used a post that he put on X, which I'll tell you, honestly, if you're in the political business, I'd stay off of X. I mean, I realize it reaches a lot of people, but man, you'd be hung up on that. Soliciting donations on Act Blue, a Democratic fundraising platform, and request to donate during a rally in Fort Worth last week. Now, the court order said not to fundraise for the groups, aligned with him, Powered by the People. If this is not Powered by the People, I don't know if that applies to him. Now, if those other groups are giving money to Power the People from donations that Beto O'Rourke is going after, then yes, he's in violation. There is no 6 degrees of separation. There's nothing. You can't have anything to do with that. So this will be interesting. The Democrats, it's not alleged, they abandoned their jobs. They stopped doing what they were elected to do and fled their responsibilities and their oath of office. These guys should be fired. And I understand where they're saying, hey, we're outnumbered. We know what's going to happen. They're going to redistrict the lines and, well, that's what you signed up for. And you could still be a champion of the people by doing your job and going out there, and you can make speeches against it. You could say, "Hey, this is wrong. We're telling you it's wrong." And they're going to do it anyway. And this poses, an ethical problem that the Democrats will not fulfill their duties. Go in there, hold your nose, and vote no on it. We voted no. We said we're not supporting this, we're not doing it, but we're going to be here. And we want to go on record as saying no. But see, once it gets passed, then it's passed. Then it's going to be hard for them to redistrict these lines again. But the Democrats have done this. They have done this. They have changed boundaries and lines that aligned to help them. And the Republicans are doing the same thing. But in this case, where you can understand the angst of the Democrats because they got out-thunked. And if this does go through, and let's say that the districts then pick up 3 or 4 or 5 more representatives in Congress that are red, what do you think's going to happen? So the Democrats know that they have to stop this. And the Democrats are good at stalling the system. That's why I say that yesterday. I said it before. I say it again. That's why Trump won't work with the Democrats, because he tried to, and they screwed him. And, he has no use for them. Has no use for them. So the outcome will be that the state of Texas will try to get the federal involved to get these people back here. We filed warrants for them to be brought back, for their arrests, for whatever they're going to do. Again, I don't know. I don't know how Texas does their, how they can do that, how they can go after legislators. Now, I know New York, when guys didn't show up for votes and stuff, the judge, they got a court order and they had the state police pick them up and bring them back. But that was inside the state. I don't know what authority a Texas state trooper would have in Illinois. I don't know if they could go there and drag them out of the state. Now, it's funny because the Democrats are all screaming it's the rich Democrats that brought everything down, and it's a rich Democratic governor that's protecting these people. I don't know how long that can last. Because there's. Do you think they're staying at an Econo Lodge? These guys. You think they're not staying at the best place in town? We've got another thing coming. This will be a key, and there's so many key moments for the failure of the Democratic Party come 2026. This will be one of them. There are just so many things coming out, so many instances of wrongdoing by the Democrats that are still in power. Pardons withstanding, a lot of these guys are in trouble. Believe me, they're in trouble. So, what's going on in Texas? Legislators are still hiding out, refuse to come back and do their job. When they refuse to come back and do their job, that's when they should be fired. Job abandonment. And I realize that, and I'll get into that later, there is a way to get them out of office, but it is hard. And almost impossible. The hurdles and the time that it takes, almost impossible. All right, second item today. How long did I talk on that? 17 minutes. I don't want to talk much more than that. Is the media meltdown over the DC takeover. And I don't usually use the beast as a platform even for leftist ideologies, because you're just so far out there that even a lot of liberals say, yeah, that's not our thinking. But in the headlines in the Beast was Trump wants his own troops to crush unrest in U.S. cities. Well, so they understand they're not his troops, they're American troops. And they're, for the most part, National Guard. So when you say his, it's not his. The military is at Trump's call, but within a reason, a reasonability. So there's been a lot of discussion on whether or not Trump has the power to use the military like that. I think both sides have good points to make on, on Trump being able to do it and Trump not being able to do it. So, I'm not saying, yeah, Trump, go out there and, I don't know. And I am researching and I am looking at it. There are laws that prevent the president from using federal troops like that. Now, National Guard is not federal troops, but the way he wants to use them, yeah, I have a problem with some of that. So, in the Beast, they go, and this is, this, a lot of leftists and progressive go, and they just believe this, and an increasingly power-crazed President Donald Trump wants a specialized force of U.S. troops to be ready round the clock to quell whatever he deems as unrest across America. The plan being weighed by the Pentagon would designate 600 National Guard soldiers as being on standby every day, ready to rapidly deploy from headquarters in Arizona and Alabama to wherever the president wants them to go. The reports from the Washington Post stated. So, of course, the cry of the Democrats, this is going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars to operate, with expenses being potentially needed to have military aircraft ready on a moment's notice. Well, fellas, so you know, we do that every day. There are airplanes on the hot spot ready to go. Some of those planes with engines running already, ready to go. So, but I understand. I question whether you could use the National Guard based out of Alabama to go to Wisconsin or Minnesota or Chicago or Philadelphia or LA. You might be able to deploy those states, and even that, it's tricky. It's tricky. And the definition of unrest in let's say a public in the public would have to be defined. You just can't say in this one block we're having a problem because ICE is there and people are, throwing bottles. It'd be tough for you to call in the National Guard for that particular instance, or to run cover. Now, the military, unless martial law is declared, the military does not have police powers in the sense of arresting people. They do have the power to detain. So, let's say they were guarding a federal office building and they had it roped off and said everyone has to go this way and get checked out. And this person decides, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go over the line. I'm going to cross over the tape. I'm going to do whatever it is, because I got business in that. I'm not a protester. I'm not part of those people, but I have business in there. And they cross over the line. The military can detain that individual and then hand them over to the local authorities, who would then quickly determine whether or not he's a threat or he violated the law or was just some guy trying to get into the building because he had a 9 o'clock appointment and has to be there. Which is, okay, I can get that. I can get there, but not that he doesn't follow the instructions of what's going on and he knowingly violates because he doesn't want to wait or he doesn't want to be bothered with it or he doesn't agree with it. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different story. So, Rachel Maddow called Trump's National Guard deployment in D.C. the next step in his authoritarian takeover, and that was in the wrap. Now, how soon they forget how Biden locked us in our houses, stopped us from working, forced us to wear masks, shut down federal buildings, stopped you from going to church, demanded that everyone be 6 feet apart, stopped you from having your family come visit you, or you to visit your family. And she has the freaking nerve to say authoritarian takeover? What a piece of crap Rachel Maddow is. Now, we knew it, and we know where she's coming from. But does she think that the people that elected Trump, and Trump won, folks, are going to forget all that? Forcing you to take a shot to keep your job, an experimental drug to keep your job, or people screaming, Democrats and people on television and radio screaming, if You don't get the shot, you can't go to a hospital. If this was my America, I would not have, you wouldn't be able to go to a hospital. You get sick, go home and die. And you talk about the authoritarian. And that's what bothers me, is that while the left is screaming all this nonsense, it's exactly what they were doing. This is why the Democrats will lose it in 2026. This is why the Democrats will lose in 2028. And this is why the Democrats will not get back in power until they clean house. And get rid of your Pelosi's and Warrens and Sanders and AOC's. Your Greens, your Schiffs, who are not interested in you. They're interested in maintaining power. And the reason they're interested in staying in power so long is because the minute they leave, people start looking at what they were doing. And they go, what the F? What was going on here? And that's why these people that stay in a position for 20 or 30 years and they fight so hard, and you look at what they've done and it really wasn't much. It's because they're covering their asses. They go in there middle class and come out the 0.1 percenters. Pelosi, Sanders. I've got 3 homes. At least when he goes out, Sanders, he asks for dimes and quarters and dollars from, people that come to his rally. And that adds up. And he's not beholden to Coca-Cola or Ford or U.S. Steel, if this U.S. Steel is even around anymore. But he's not beholden to them. But he is beholden to the people that gave the dollar and a $5 or $10 spot at a rally. I can respect that. I don't like his politics. But I respect how he goes about it. To a point. But all these people like Rachel Maddow, they think we're stupid. That we're going to forget what they have done and what they did to us. And I'm not saying to me personally, to us as Americans, they were this close from taking our democracy away from us. This close. And it's slowly coming out. Trump is not rushing this. He's got this, and it's slowly coming out. And, he is going to expose them and is doing it. And all the Democrats can scream about is Epstein. Epstein's, according to everyone, is dead. Case can go nowhere now. Maxwell is the only one that can hold a key to any of it. And she ain't talking. She hasn't told them anything that they weren't told before. So, there's nothing. That's all the Democrats have. Epstein. No one cares. The girls that were screaming and all this stuff were over 18 years old when everything happened. Went to the island, 38 times. Were you forced? No. Were you drugged? No. Were you, I was brought there. Well, no, you were hired. You're an escort. And even though that's illegal and that should not have happened, and but did you accept money? Did you accept transportation? Did anyone force you to do it? No. No. So, and again, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not condoning it. But if you liked chocolate and there was a bowl of chocolate there and someone tells you, have some chocolate. It's the simplest way to put it. All right. Enough with the nonsense of the DC takeover. Crime's out of control there. I don't like the idea of what they plan on doing or what they would like to do. That's just kind of a little sandpaper on me. So not really for that. I'm looking into exactly what it is they're trying to do, because each one of those states have National Guards that can be called out. So, all right. Ethics Committee in Congress calls out AOC. Tells her, hey, you accepted free stuff from people. You're not allowed to do that. So in a report, the panel concluded that AOC failed to pay market price value for services and items associated with an event that she had gone to. I know that sounds very minor. And she's a big draw to have at an event. And designers and jewelers and everyone often will donate and say, you can wear this dress for the day. And they can say, that's the dress from, my design, the jewelry. It's not hers, and she gives it back at the end of the night, whenever. She attempted to follow the House rules on gift acceptance. So she for herself declared all that and said, hey, this is the dress, this is who it was, blah, blah, blah. And she did all that. But what she failed to do was free admission to a 2021 Met Gala for her partner, her male pal, Riley Roberts, and failed to pay the full market value for some of the items worn to that event. By him, by her, whatever they found. So she has to reimburse them for that fair market value. Now, I don't know how she does that, though she has millions now. She wrote books, and just like they paid Cuomo for his book in New York, during the, How I Killed 50,000 Elderly People. And they paid him, $4 million or whatever the $1 million amount was. And the book sold maybe, I don't know, nothing. Her books sold, they never made money from that. So how are these publishing companies doing that? How are they paying them? And that's perfectly legal. Hey, I got a whole bunch of pens here. They're $1 million a piece. I have 50 pens here. And someone goes, you got 50 pens there. You want $1 million? $1 million? What are you doing? He goes, yeah, but I only got to sell one. Just got to sell one. And, I mean, basically, that's what these book deals were. And I'm sure book deals went to Republicans and Democrats and Bernie Sanders and everyone ate from the trough. I'm not just saying Democrats. But that should really be looked into. So AOC gets called on the carpet, says, you gotta pay. And this again, where they did not say she purposely or tried to mislead them. But she should have known that, for her, she can do certain things. For her partner, not so much when it's associated with her. Now, again, these are minor things, but then you look at it and go, well, Menendez from New Jersey used to fly to the Bahamas. His dentist friend, who had a bunch of dental offices in New Jersey. Yeah, go 2 weeks over here. Take your family. Go. Have a good time. And that's not allowed. Junkets. Called junkets. Really, really frowned upon. And a lot of this stuff, if you're in government, needs to be reported. And you can make mistakes. It happens. And she reported it, and they go, hey, you can't do this, right? No, I didn't. I thought if I just report it, say la vie. And they go, well, no, pay up. You got to pay. So that comes back as a look at her as not being, I don't know if you would say honest. But loosey-goosey with the rules, yeah, you could say that. A little loosey-goosey. Needs to be looked at. So, pay up, AOC. NFL, no free lunch. Okay, second. Schiff accused of leaking classified information in treasonous Russiagate plot, memo shows. And that is the headlines from the Daily Caller. Don't normally look at that. But when I see treasonous, that's a big word. That's a big word. It's a powerful word. Because you're not protected from treason. I don't think a pardon. I think under a court of law, you might be held. Can't do nothing to you. But a sitting senator, yes, sir, you could be removed from office. The House of Representatives can vote 2/3, and then the Senate can punish you because the House of Representatives makes the charge and then gives it to the Senate, who becomes the jury and executioner. So, Schiff was accused by a career intelligence officer who used to work with the HPSCI, which is House Intelligence Committee. Democrats repeatedly told the Federal Bureau of Investigation in 2017 that then Democratic representative Adam Schiff allegedly approved leaking classified information in an effort to indict President Trump. Memos from the FBI show. The whistleblower is alleged to have been approached in another meeting about leaking classified information, and the officials described the proposal as unethical and treasonous to the FBI, the document states. So, what Schiff is going to be accused of is taking sensitive intelligence that was not meant to be put out to the public as a means to smear then President Trump, or during the election, or wherever. They're kind of a little vague, but in 2000, it was after 2016, so Trump was already elected. I think this happened in 2017. But that is a huge, huge case that could go against him. And Schiff is not a guy that could be trusted. He lied. He was censured. As a congressman, he was censured. That's big, big time stuff. And yet, you know, he won the Senate seat. The Department of Justice later told the whistleblower that the issue would not be investigated further by the DOJ, as congressmen have immunity to all speech and actions made on the floor of the United States House of Representatives, referring to the constitutional speech and debate clause according to the memo. The intelligence officer reported that Schiff was upset at the result of the 2016 election, as he believed he would have been appointed as director of the CIA if Hillary Clinton had won, according to Just the News. I didn't see any of this stuff. I'm just reporting what they're saying. The officer claimed to be to the FBI in August of 2017 that Schiff believed Russia had hijacked the election and the United States was in the middle of a constitutional crisis. HPSCI personnel were allegedly seeking to request the unmasking of anonymous individuals mentioned in intelligence documents regarding Trump so they could deal with them, according to the FBI memo. So if you go back and remember that it was a lot of talk, and there was an accidental disclosure of intelligent people, and they blew their cover, and this was a real fiasco. That's going to be tied back to him, folks. He was the one that leaked that information, allegedly. And if they get him on that, he's gone. He won't go to jail, but he'll be kicked out of the Senate. And then everyone associated with him in that whole little circle, Nadler from Brooklyn, that pig, Green, Waters, get them all. If they were in on this, get them all. And you see, I heard much from Green, heard much from Waters lately. We've heard from Pelosi, she's doesn't even make sense. She makes Joe Biden look like Einstein. I don't know if she had a stroke or she's drunk and stuff, but I mean, she can't put 6 words together now. And, you know, if there's something wrong with her, I mean, they should at least get her out of there. But we've seen that they keep these people in there till the Grim Reaper is dragging them out by the heels. So that's what's going on with that. So the senators and House and Representatives and the House of Representatives can be removed from office through expulsion by the Senate or through impeachment by the House of Representatives and conviction by the Senate. Expulsion, which is the same thing as impeachment and stuff, requires a two-thirds vote of the Senate. Impeachment is a process where the House of Representatives brings charges and the Senate then holds a trial and votes on the conviction. So, like I said, some big news coming out, and the Democrats think we're going to forget all this stuff. That the past just goes away. And that we're not going to, that they're going to be screaming Epstein, and we're going to be screaming traitor, leaker. What's worse? An allegation that both the Biden administration and the Trump administration have said there's nothing there. There's nothing for them to sink their teeth into anymore. They got Maxwell, and Epstein is dead. Biden administration had all the same information that the Trump administration has. There's no new information. They convicted Maxwell. She can appeal it and go through the process of that. But it's done. So that's over with. And honestly, if that's all the Democrats have to scream about, there's going to be a lot more to scream about. And some other tidbits you could talk about. Well, the inflation rate's going. Yeah, we knew the inflation would happen with tariffs. But the liberals and Democrats were all screaming that, we'd all be in the poorhouse by now. The market would crash. We'd go into a worldwide recession. It will be the destruction of everything we know. And the market's higher. Now, I understand how the market works. That's why I don't have a penny in it. It's all institutional trading. So it's big houses buying these stocks and moving them around and positioning themselves. You and I, we're small potatoes. And when we're in it, we're in a fund with one of these major players moving hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars around. It's very rare that the average guy sitting in front of his computer, is making, 16 or 17% on his money. That's rare. It does happen. I could say, I've had some stocks that have been done very well. I also had some stocks that did very bad. And I lost a ton of money. So I stay out of the stock market. I've done very well on other investments, but stock markets, in the long haul, you'll do all right. Young people, go into those funds. I'm not a financial expert, nor am I giving you financial advice. I'm just saying that when you're young, you can absorb losses without it affecting you long term. But when you hit that magic age of about 47, 50, how much more productive time do you have to put money away, to do stuff, And in nowadays, I don't know how. Honestly, I don't understand how anyone does it. I don't get it. I don't see how young people can strike out on their own. It's so weighted against them. I can't see how they can even do it. So, okay. With that, we're at 50, about 50 minutes of airtime. I'm going to say good night, goodbye. As I always do say, give to a charity if you can. Charity does begin at home. And if you're going to go give to a charity, go to one that you know. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. If you're uncomfortable with that, or you just go, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on a call list every, time, that phone rings. Take some cans of food, buy a couple of cans of food, put it away, and once a month go to the local food bank. And, give them 10 cans, 20 cans. When the stores have buy one, get one free, give you a free one. You're going to buy that product anyway. And you could help someone. You go, well, what is 4 or 5 cans going to do? Or, what's the big deal? Well, to someone that doesn't have any cans, 4 or 5 cans is a lot. That is a lot. So I want you to think about that. Say a prayer. Prayer does work. Just be careful what you pray for. Gotta be something. But you can't just, wish for a pot of gold. Because praying and wishing are 2 different things. When you get something, then you're blessed. So, if you scratch off a number or for a lottery card, then you're lucky. So, there's a difference. And with that, I'm going to say good night as I end the show and fade to black. As I always do. I hope this fades to black this time. So I got everything running kind of correctly. All right, you guys have a good one. Bye.